Guys, I was very nice, very ladylike. I didn't even swear in front of my clients. I had no intentions of killing anyone. I'm not that type of person.
I want to tell you something about her birth. I thought that she got some kind of brain damage.
I defended myself, which everybody has the right to do.
If I could do it all over again, I would have became an outstanding citizen of America who would have either been a police officer, a fire department gal, or a missionary.
I sentence you to death for the murder of David Spears.
I'll be up in heaven while y'all rotting in hell. Your wife and kids get raped.
My evil happened to come out because of the circumstances.
She's been failed by the legal system.
Cops knew who I was, and they covered it up to turn me into a serial killer.
They want to turn them into high-profile cases for books and movies.
We're executing a person who's mad.
I believe in the death penalty and I have a duty to implement the law.
Aileen, life and death of a serial killer.
Thanks a lot, society, for railroading my ass.
Today we are going to talk about such a female serial killer who comes on top 1 in the crime list of America's most dangerous female serial killers. Such a girl whose urine was written in her childhood itself. Something must have happened in her childhood. After all, why would her childhood be like this? There are many such questions in my mind, and they might be in your mind too. If not, then I can say for sure that after watching this video, some questions will come to your mind too. And whatever questions are in your mind, I will try so that you can get the answer to all your questions. A woman who was neither accepted by her family nor by this world, ultimately that girl had made a mistake, which was always rejected. And when this female tried to take justice in her own way, then her family and this world made her a monster. One thing has come to my mind, which I would like to share with all of you. Any person, whether boy or girl, no one becomes a criminal. Either his problems make him like this, or he himself forces him to become like this. So without wasting any time, let's discuss the case, the most wanted American female serial killer. This is the story of Aileen Wuornos, the victim of a prostitute and unlimited murders, and maybe even some victims. The real name of Aileen Wuornos was Aileen Carol Pittman. Aileen Wuornos was born on February 29, 1856 in Michigan. But maybe the problems were waiting for Aileen's birth, as if a mountain of problems fell on her head as soon as Aileen was born. And this world and her family never became a loving place for her. Her mother, Diane Wuornos, was born in 1939. The most shocking thing is that Aileen's parents got married at such a young age, which is impossible to see in today's time. Aileen's mother was 14 years old when she got married to Aileen's father, Leo Patman, on the 3rd of June, 1954, when he was 18 years old, 1936-1969. On the 3rd of June, 1954, 14th March, 1955, Diane gave birth to Aileen's elder brother, whose name was Keith. The biggest twist in this case is that after less than 2 years of marriage and 2 months before Aileen's birth, Diane had applied for divorce. Now, what would be the reason for the divorce? We will also know that in the video further. And he had given birth to Aileen at the age of 16. Even Aileen Wuornos had never met her father or even seen him. Because Aileen's father, who was a child molester, convicted rapist and pedophile, had raped a 7-year-old girl in 1967, due to which he had to go to jail, and Aileen's father, Leo Pittman, committed suicide in the jail on 30 January 1969 by hanging himself. Now after this, problems started for Aileen and his family from every side. In January 1960, his son was almost 4 years old and Aileen's mother left her children. Now Aileen and his brother both were left alone. So they had to live with their maternal grandfather and grandmother, whose names were Lurie and Brita Wuornos, both of whom were their supporters. Now Aileen and his brother had to live with their grandfather and grandmother, and they had legally adopted Aileen and Aileen's brother on 18 March 1960. Now the problems were about to start in Aileen and her brother's life. When Aileen turned 11, she started having sex for money and cigarettes so that she could feed herself and her brother. And without saying anything, this became her habit. Now men started taking unfair advantage of her. But Aileen used to bear this quietly. And she did all this just to serve. Whatever I am going to tell you now, you are going to be completely shocked after hearing all these things. When Aileen was 11 years old, she had developed a bad habit of drug abuse. Smoking cigarettes and taking drugs had become her passion. And instead of drugs and food, she also started having sex in school so that she could get money, so that she could do drugs and eat with that money. And that was not all. Aileen had also had sex with her brother Keith. Aileen Wuornos told in one of her interviews that when she was a teenager, her alcoholic grandfather raped her several times. And he also beat her. But before killing her, he forced her to remove her clothes. Now tell me, when she was treated so badly, was Aileen able to become a good person? Not only this, Aileen's maternal grandfather was a child molester. In 1970, when Aileen was 14 years old, she was raped by a family, after which she became pregnant. The question is, whose child was that? And that child was not anyone else's. Rather, Aileen's maternal grandfather was her old friend. He too had raped Aileen, and that child belonged to her maternal grandfather's friend. Aileen Wuornos gave birth to her child on March 23, 1971, in a farmer's home. And Aileen gave the child to the same farmer in the hope that someone would adopt the child and take care of him. And he also beat her, but before killing her, he forced her to remove her clothes. Now, tell me, when she was treated so badly, was Aileen able to become a good person? Not only this, and Aileen Wuornos left school a few months after giving birth to her child, almost when her grandfather died. And when Aileen was 15 years old, her grandfather also threw her out of the house. After that, Aileen Wuornos had decided in her mind to enter the world of crime. In the beginning, she started committing small thefts and frauds. But the real twist came when she murdered 7 people in Florida from 1989 to 1990. Who were those people who were murdered, and how did Aileen select her targets and made a pattern for them? Her claim was that they tried to rape me, and Aileen also said that I murdered them in self-defense. Her claim was that I have suffered a lot of abuse in my life, and have suffered from the violence of men, due to which her anger turned into a revenge mindset. Do you want to know about all these murders? Aileen Wuornos mostly targeted the men who drove cars and trucks near the highway. Now, why did she do this? If only Aileen Wuornos knew. Aileen used to target only those men who wanted to spend time with prostitutes. These men were either middle-aged or old. Aileen Wuornos's plan was very simple. Initially, Aileen used to approach her target through a prostitute. And when her target became interested, they would ask Aileen for a ride date. Now, the first step of Aileen's plan was complete, and she had also achieved her first target. Aileen used to take her target to a busy place where no one could be seen even at one door. Now, every client would want to take advantage of this busy place, and Aileen also had the same thought that as soon as his client started taking advantage of it, I will kill him, and after looting everything of his, I will go away. And it happened just like that. His client started taking advantage of him. Aileen shot him with a .22 caliber pistol while he was in the car and killed him. And this was the first murder for Aileen. After this, Aileen committed 6 more murders continuously.